Welcome to the Fluff. Yeah, sexy bitches. Welcome, y'all. I wish all your pro-fros a good evening. Well, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are. Hopefully, I will have the energy. Henry, why are you so far away? I will have the energy to do this. Been interesting day. My fingers are in so much pain, you guys. You won't understand. Basically, what happened is I replaced the cushions of these headphones, right? So getting them off was like one thing. I was like, oh, okay, getting off is not that hard. Getting the replaced cushions in, absolute massive pain. It was not okay. I don't understand what they were thinking. I understand it needs to like snap in, it needs to like stick in and all that stuff. But it just hurts so much to do any of it. Like my fingertips are still trying to recover from yeah. Oh well. I'm just gonna wait a little bit to see if maybe somebody will join. Okay. I would say at the 5-minute mark we'll start. Which, wait a minute, I want to see something. Double check that shit. So this one says 4. Okay. Interesting. But that's basically fine. That's fine. Is it just me or is the quality of the text worse than usual? Is it just me? Like, let's see what happens if I expand. Oh, it's not that bad. It just looks bad from the. Is it a dog barking outside? I think there's a dog barking outside. Damn. Okay. Well, here goes nothing. Lap. What is our first one? Alternate reality recorders. Wait, I got a message that's saying, "Hey, nice." Once Jade is here, I will tell her that personally. That looks cool. I like the little gloss that they have on their heads. But yeah, alternate reality recorders. So alternate reality. So it's probably just a record. Wait, here's the thing. When it says recorders, do they mean like something that records something? As in like, yeah, the name. But isn't like, am I wrong? Isn't the flute thing a recorder? So either it is something that recorded something from a different reality that happens to be like the only way to know that it's a different reality. It must be like something that happened similarly but different in their world. Or it is an actual recorder that doesn't look like it's coming from this reality and plays music in such, or tunes in an abstract way. All right, it's safe, and oh, there's experiment logs. So let's see how long is the experiment logs. Oh, there's a couple. But here we go. All right, safe. SCP-1250 is to be kept in a large double-lock safe in a fireproof enclosure at site. SCP-1250 storage container is not to be opened by anyone without level 3 clearance or higher. Instances of SCP of -1 and -2 that have been expanded are to be properly labeled and filed away in a neighboring room. categorized by date, length, and content. Tapes may be reviewed freely by all permitted staff of all permitted staff. For a full list of available recordings, please refer to document redacted. Researchers wishing to use blank -1 or -2 samples for experimentation must submit a formal request to Dr. Carter with the details of the experiments in question and the required number of samples. Hi, Jade. I just saw your picture that you sent me. I love it. I said I really like how like the heads have a bit of a gloss to them. Like I like that little detail, making them look a bit more shiny. Now they're cute. They're cute. Nice. I like that. You know what would be... I'm not gonna ask... Will I ask this? This would be an interesting system. You know how like in a lot of like bits and subs and all that stuff, in streams there's like this jar and it just slowly gets filled up. I would like how cool would it be if like if you did that with your drawings, like with your Pokemon ice creams, like whenever like a certain amount of like subs were gifted or bits were used, it fills up and a scoop of all the Pokemons get land on it, and then like once you have all of them, gotta catch them all. Once you have them all caught, that's when like it's just they vanish and it restarts over again. So it's like this little mini game. OMG, that is pretty cute. Yeah. But I'm not gonna ask for you to like be like make it happen. I think it's just a cool idea. As of 2000, SCP-1250 is a collection of compact audio cassette tapes and VHS tapes, -1 and -2 respectively. I know what you mean. Nice. So we read the first one. The title of this one was called Alternate Reality Recorders. And at first I was like, well, are you saying recorders as in like the things that record things? Like, which we have answered now. It's cassette tapes and VHS tapes. So they recorded with those stuff. But I also said like, well, if it's like the flute thing, that's also called a recorder, right? So like, what if it's that? But now we know it's definitely cassette tapes. Since I just finished, I'm gonna take a small break and watch stream on the couch. Nice. Enjoy. -1 and -2 samples are ashen in color and devoid of any form of branding or labels. Internally, they are completely indistinguishable from other tapes of similar design and can be used via any standard audio-video recording equipment. However, -1 and -2 samples do not accurately record events. Upon playback of an -1 or -2 tape, there are notable differences between the content of captured audio-video recordings and the real-world occurrence that participants remember observing. Yeah, I want to like say, like, how do you know it's from like an alternate reality? What if it's just really well done video recordings, you know? And audio-wise, it's also very hard to prove that it's not just some person just telling bullshit. These alterations, while inconsistent, are initially never drastic. Situations presented in recordings are largely the same, but subtle changes, differences in pronunciation, word choice, furniture present in room, gender, age of recorded individuals. Okay, that makes sense. That makes more sense. Are found when compared to standard recordings. In the case of -2, visual discrepancies will manifest in place of oral, as video samples produce no audio when reviewed. Multiple simultaneous recordings are noted to further alter proceedings, which greater numbers of -1 or -2 tapes present during a single session, resulting in more dramatic variations. The only variable consistent across all samples are the exact date, time, and location, which are 100% identical in every recording of a given event. Testing has also shown that -1, -2 samples do not appear to have any storage limit. Recording can continue indefinitely until manually stopped. Especially lengthy recordings have not been shown to exhibit a greater number of changes than shorter ones, even if a large variety of events are to occur, or the recording device would travel a considerable distance during its duration. -1 and -2 cannot be overwritten, and all attempts to transfer data to different formats have failed. Okay, Addendum 1. On the 2nd, 15th, 1990, A test was performed that had researchers initiate a set of -2 and 3 standard video recordings at a singular location and then transport a pair of each in separate directions. All 6 recordings started the same way, with no notable differences occurring until after the groups were significantly separated from one another. As a result of this event, staff now believe that alteration will not manifest in the presence of other partial recordings, and that the recorded events of an -1 or -2 sample are not written in real time. I wonder if little Valkyrie will still join us. She did say she is tired, but that's somebody else. I will answer that once I finish reading this page, and then we can read the experiment logs. Addendum 2. How happened to my nose? Oh god. On the 4th, 2nd, 2001, Dr. T staged a reenactment of an earlier -1 test conducted on the 1990. The condition of the control table were created down to the finest detail. All involved staff reprised their roles and repeatedly lied about the date and time of the proceedings. The -1 results received were not the same as those of the earlier tests. Addendum 3. A series of trials performed between 7th, 2006 and 9th, 2006 by Dr. T and Dr. Carter have concluded that -1 and -2 recordings will present fewer changes when recorded in the presence of an event with an exceedingly high number of potential outcomes. Particularly games of chance, footage of gambling, paraphernalia news, cards, dice, slot machines, roulette, wheels, darts, will almost never showcase alteration outside the central object, regardless of how many additional samples are used to record. Interesting. I think I understand now. Like, whatever you try to record, the tape will always somehow change something. I thought there were tapes from the past that were different. No, but the tapes that once you record something on it, it's never fully the thing that you recorded. Something might look different. Like, you could record, I don't know, your little nephew and a football match, and then you record that, and then you watch it back, and then you realize, like, oh, they're not kicking a football. They're kicking a bowling ball for some reason in the recording. I mean, it's a safe SCP, so I understand that that's not anything dangerous or grotesque or anything like that. But I can imagine that can lead to a lot of confusion, especially if you try to if you bought these tapes, and then imagine you buy these tapes, right? And you're like, oh, I'm going to record my wedding. I'm going to make sure my wedding is recorded. It's going to look beautiful. You do that. And then, down the line, maybe 5 years later, you meet somebody and they're like, oh, you had a wedding? It's like, oh, let me show you. I recorded. It looks so nice. And next thing you know, even though let's just say it's a heterosexual marriage. So it's a man and a woman, but then in the recording, you see 2 women, and you're like, who dat? That's not you. It's like, yeah, that I don't understand. It's supposed to be. Did your wife marry somebody else and you recorded that? And now what? It's like, imagine the confusion of having to try to you can't even explain it to other people because you yourself have no idea how that happened. Test has been put on indefinite hiatus. Please see experiment logs A and B for more details, which we have right here. Yeah. Please be experiment log A, audio recordings. Please be sure to include your name, the date, and duration of the recording on all records. Oh yeah, let me just quickly answer this. All right, let's go on. Oh god, so many blanks. Dr. 990. Duration 2 minutes 47 seconds. Dr. is her reciting an adaptation of the poem Der Erlkönig by Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. That's a famous German poem. The blanks, oh my fucking... Yeah, you gotta suffer now. You gotta suffer, Jade. But yeah, the Erlkönig is a famous German poem. It's been since high school since I read it, so I don't recall fully. I believe it was like something about like how a king like lost somebody important to them. The poem is read in its native German by an unidentified voice. That makes sense. Instead of Dr. T speaking in English, or reading it out loud in English, it's read in German. That makes sense. Dr. Edwards. 3rd, 2000, 26 minutes, 19 seconds. A television in the background plays a syndicated episode of a popular children's show, Redacted. The episode follows a character named Billy as he helps a close friend plan an important birthday party. And now the tape. This episode follows the same Billy attempting to try out for the school basketball team. Curiously, there are no commercial breaks, and a portion of the same episode plays again before the tape is stopped. Oh god. How many there's a couple audios. Dr. 9, 2000, 14 seconds. Doctor introduces himself by saying, Hello, I'm... It's a pleasure to meet you. The control tape, Doctor says the above greeting. Tape 1, a female voice says the greeting. The first name is replaced with Emily instead of... Tape 2, a series of loud beeps and clicks play for the duration of the recording. There's no recognizable pattern. it's the Predator from the Predator movie. Tape 3, Doctor is heard to attempting to say the greeting. He sounds very weak and takes several labored breaths after a few words. Does not finish the greeting before the recording ends. It's just like... and then it just ends. Damn it. 2 separate voices say the greetings. They are very stoic and they speak in perfect unison. Oh, that's creepy. Either voice can be identified as that of Doctor. The tape sounds as though it is immersed in water. A light tapping can be heard somewhere nearby. A bit eerie, but nothing too creepy just yet. A crowd of people can be heard murmuring in the room. All of the voices appear to be uttering the greeting, though it's impossible to tell if Dr. T is among them. Dr. T is heard counting down from 14, reaching 0 just as the recording ends. And the last tape, is entirely silent for 14-second durations. Doctor with Dr. T monitoring. 11, 2000, 8 minutes, 4 seconds. Doctor interviews Mr. Several times during the interview, Doctor will randomly hold up a card with a simple drawing on it and ask Mr. To describe what he sees. A total of 7 cards were held up during the course of the interview. It is important to note that aside from the card results, both interviews were the same. Mr. responses to the images cards: cat, airplane, flower, bond, teddy, bear, horse, apple. Mr. responses to the image cards: pencil, window, swan, tree, airplane, bus, moon. All responses given were cards that exist in the deck. Dr. Edwards with Doctor performing. I believe that's supposed to be like blank 6. I guess could be the 16th or the 26th. We don't know. Or just 6. 2006. 11 minutes 2 seconds. Doctor was asked to play Moonlight Sonata on an old grand piano. He has very little experience as playing the instrument. Doctor hits several bum notes and reattempts several sections of the song to correct mistakes. He politely asks to stop playing after attempting to over 10 minutes, and the recording is seized by Dr. Edwards. Doctor handles the instrument flawlessly, playing with considerable grace, and receives a roaring applause from the other researcher present. In the place of Moonlight Sonata, the song played by Doctor is unknown. Can you imagine you record yourself and you're doing horrible? And you're like, oh god, this is embarrassing. Why do I even record it? And then you listen to it again and it sounds like beautiful, but it's not the song you play. You're like, pardon? I'm a little bit confused. A second note is played in 2 seconds intervals until 9 minutes 9 seconds. No other sounds can be heard for the remainder of the recording. Dr. Carter, 2008, 8 minutes 6 seconds. Dr. Carter calmly asks questions regarding the nature of SCP-1250-1 and -2. Dr. Carter asks the aforementioned questions. Dr. Carter can be heard talking, though it is very muffled, almost as if he were speaking from the other side of a wall. The nature of his speech is entirely indecipherable. A loud tonal screeching emanates from the tape for the entire duration of the recording. That must be uncomfortable to listen to. Dr. T. 2009, 45 minutes, 30 seconds. 3 tapes were left to record on empty room for 45 minutes. Dr. T is heard exiting the room and the recording begins, apart from a nearby door being closed at 27 minutes, 1 second. The recording is entirely silent until Dr. T returns at 44 minutes, 51 seconds to the end of the recording. Now we have the tape 1. Dr. T is heard exiting the room and the recording begins. Infrequently, a light shuffling can be heard to the direct left. At 5 minutes, 2 seconds, heavy, deliberate footsteps are slowly heard approaching from the left and continuing on past the empty room to the right. They can only be heard at 24 minutes, 44 seconds, and shuffling ceases at this point. Dr. T re-enters the room at 45 minutes, 16 seconds to end the record. This recording has more time on it. It has how did it do that? I know it's an SCP, but still, it's kind of fascinating the fact that it added 13 more seconds. Tape 2, Doctor is heard exiting the room and the recording begins at 13 minutes, 8 seconds. A loud crash is heard from the right. Another loud crash occurs at 16 minutes, 2 seconds, and an even louder one at 19 minutes, 17 seconds. Something begins pounding on the wall in the hall outside of the empty room at 26 minutes, 20 seconds and continues to do so with consistent intensity. The door to the empty room is heard being torn from the frame at 44 minutes, 10 seconds, as something proceeds to thrash it around the room. The tape cuts off at 45 minutes, 3 seconds. And let's not forget, these are called alternate reality recorders. So, whatever reality this is, there was some shit going down. Some very intense stuff. Experiment log B, video recordings. Please be sure to include your name, the date, and duration of the recording in all records. Due to the omission of audio by -2 video samples, our description provided should cover only what is seen during the control tapes, not what is heard. Doctor, 1990. 43 seconds. Doctor pitches a baseball to Doctor from a distance of 15 meters. Control tape. Doctor is seen making contact with the ball, sending the ball flying far past the view of the camera. Doctor claps in response to the home run. Doctor is seen stiffening a calf, delaying the pitch by 4 seconds. Doctor is seen making contact with the ball, resulting in a foul. Okay. Dr. T. 1997, 2 hours, 16 minutes, 25 seconds. 3 cameras were pointed at the television, playing the content of another -2 sample. The content of this sample includes a data expunged. The content of the original -2 sample are seen clearly on the screen. Tape 1, the tape came out blank, having recording no material, and same with tape 2. Doctor, 1990. 13 minutes, 24 seconds. 2 cameras were set on the small table in the middle of the large concrete room facing in opposite directions. Control tape. The room remains empty and nothing occurs for the entire duration of the film. A series of empty cans are thrown from behind the camera toward the wall by an unseen individual. This action persists for the entire duration of the recording. Dr. Carter. 2006. 7 seconds. Dr. Carter set up a group of 13 cameras recording, rolling a pair of 6-sided dice. 2 pair. Okay, dice were sold 11. Now, I'm just going to say dice were sold and just once, and the rest I'm just going to read. 3, 9, 16, 5, 108. That. 4, 0, 7, 3/4, 2, and redacted. Agent H with Dr. Carter and Dr. T monitoring. 2023 seconds. Agent was asked for fire 3 shots at personnel D32907 using his M9 from a distance of 22.5 meters. The agent was also asked to intentionally try and avoid hitting D329071 during the experiment, though this information was not shared with the subject. Controller, the first 2 shots missed the subject. The third strikes him directly in the right shoulder. The subject is clutching at the wound and reeling in pain before the recording ends. Tape 1. All 3 shots miss the subject without incident. Tape 2. All 3 shots contact with the subject's chest and abdomen, knocking them to the floor. Tape 3. Agent H is seen standing directly behind D32907 with his firearm pressed against the backside of the subject's head. He fires a single shot, killing the subject instantly, assesses the camera for the remainder of the recording. That's creepy now. Imagine seeing yourself just... You know what you've been doing. You know what you did in real life. You know what you did. You were like, doom, doom, miss, hit, right? But then you have this variation where you're just behind somebody. You shoot the brains out, and then you just go... For who knows how long. Wait, how long did the recordings? Well, 23 seconds, so it's not that long, but it's still like... It's still a bit creepy. Tape 4. D32907 is replaced with a specimen of redacted. Agent H is killed during the ensuing conflict. Oh no. Oh no, Agent H. It is creepy, yeah. Like, because especially because you're looking at yourself doing it, but you know for a fact you didn't do it. It's just a version of yourself that did it. Dr. T. 9 hours, 14 minutes, 36 seconds. 4 cameras were left overnight in front of the television playing static. The static is consistently seen for the duration of the tape. In place of the static, stock footage of spiders is seen. The majority of the footage focuses on the spiders capturing and eating prey. Tape 2. In place of static, black and white footage of a deceased elderly man is seen. He sits slumped in a chair next to an all-night lamp in a room devoid of any other furniture. At 5 minutes 6 seconds, his body begins falling to pieces, starting from top down. This process is subtle at first, as it takes up until 9 hours 12 minutes to fully complete, and is more easily observed when the footage is sped up. The television is off, and the lamp behind the camera can be seen in the television reflection. A silhouetted figure is seen passing through the reflection on occasion. Dr. 2000, 6 hours, 28 minutes, 38 seconds. 6 cameras recorded 7 minutes of a Little League baseball game in Aberdeen, Maryland. Control tape. Children play Little League baseball. One team wears light blue jersey while the other team wears yellow jersey. This is the example I gave. I was like, oh, imagine you watch your nephew play football. Let's see what this one does. Tape 1, identical to Control, except that a particular player wears the uniform number 8 instead of 6 per the Control recording. Tape 2, identical to Control, except that a female spectator to the game has been replaced by Lana Neal. Wait, yeah, what was Lana Neal again? The thing we read that recently, I already forgot. And oh yeah, yeah, the actress that doesn't exist. Tape 3, identical to Control, except that the position and orientation of the shadows of objects shown in the recording suggests the presence of more than one sun-like source of illumination. Oh, they have multiple suns. Okay. Tape 4, rules of games appear to have changed. Pitcher and fielding team seem to be throwing a ball at the batter head with the intent to injure, following which the batter chases the pitchers around the field, attempt to beat him with the bat. Umpire, coaches, and spectators appear to record this behavior as normal. Seeing your own kids trying to like bash their brains out must not be... That's not kosher. Identical to Control, except that game participants and spectators appear to be reciting a prayer to Dazbog, Slavic pagan sun god, in the old church Slavonic language while playing. And last, Dr. T with redacted. 2010, 1 hour, 12 minutes, 1 second. 24 hours prior to this experiment, Dr. T was the victim of the unfortunate car crash and was rushed to Hospital. Under Foundation custody, Dr. T had previously asked to have his final moments captured on tape by -2 in the event of a fatal injury or terminal illness. Control tape. Dr. T remains motionless in his hospital bed for the duration of the recording. Nurses are seen rushing in at 43 minutes 45 seconds in response to his heart monitor flattening. Despite their best efforts, Dr. T heartbeat is now restored and he is pronounced deceased at 1 hour 9 minutes 15 seconds. And now tape. Dr. T is conscious during the initial portion of the recording and is seen discussing something with one of the nurses before she exits the room at 25 minutes 54 seconds. Dr. Carter is seen walking into the frame at 43 minutes 5 seconds and quickly proceeds to smother his colleague with a nearby pillow. Ooh. Dr. T struggles against attempted suffocation, but is easily overpowered by Carter and falls still at 1 hour 9 minutes 15 seconds. Dr. Carter exits the room. The following confrontation is not seen with the remainder of the recording. Following the events of the above experiment, the project has been handed over to Dr. Carter. He has requested no further -2 experimentation be performed for the time being. Yeah, I mean, you just witnessed yourself killing a man with this thing, so I can understand that you want to have a break. Interesting. Of course, some people would argue, it's like, man, I wish there was a bit more, extreme stuff happening, but I would say that it's interesting that it was only like minor stuff, and when it was not minor, it was definitely creepy. I mean, I guess like the overall feeling is creepy, because like again at the end, the overall feeling that you watching yourself do things that you know for a fact you won't do or didn't do. Like you seeing you doing something that you never did. Like this basically every girl that has like that does like the whole like, oh, and I know this is a stereotype, but like every girl that did the whole like, in my dreams you did that, that's therefore you did it. This is that manifested. That's this manifested, like, in my dreams you did that. I was like, well, I didn't do it. This is what this is in recording form. It's like, oh yeah? If you didn't do it, then why do I have this tape of you doing it? I was like, what? But I promise I didn't do it. I don't even recall doing it. You tell me I did something I don't recall? The accident black spot. I have. I don't know. The accident black spot. I'm trying, like, I assume it's like maybe the black spot is not that literal. Maybe it's just a spot. And the black is just like metaphorically. But what if it's like a spot somewhere on the street where accidents just prone to happen? No matter how many times you walk over it, there's always going to be an accident. You walk over it, you slip and hit your head. You walk over it, drive-by accident. You walk over it, pot lands on your head, even though there's no building around. Something like that. What if it's that, huh? What if it's that? Due to the quasi-random movement of SCP-1251 and its presence on public roads, embedded agents in the local emergency services and the UK Highway Agency have been instructed to act as a liaison with on-site personnel. Roads leading to SCP-1251 current site are to be secured and traffic redirected, with the nearest 3 traffic intersections to be kept under video and gravimetric surveillance from the 26th day from the last known location of SCP-1251. The team should be on high alert for activity and be prepared to transfer containment measures at any time. As of the containment team is to be expanded to 6 members and placed on a 14-hour overlapping shifts of 3 personnel. See Addendum 1. Attempts are underway to influence the movement of SCP-1251 towards a secure facility. See -2. Addendum 2. Foundation personnel and local civic planning officers should be advised of any necessary road closure and title transfers. SCP-1251 is a freestanding phenomenon currently extended on a mini roundabout located in United Kingdom. It exerts an enormous pseudo-gravitational force on all objects within 12 meters of its center, typically varying between 0.4 Newton per kilogram and 2 newtons per kilogram. It has been determined that SCP-1251 is able to transmit itself between roundabouts and other circular junctions, does so approximately once a month. No pattern has been detected to the fluctuation in its schedule relative to the lunar or Gregorian calendar. The force SCP-1251 exerts on its surroundings is inversely proportional to the size of the intersection. Large roundabouts and junctions are generally safe to approach, and its enormous effect would not be readily apparent to traffic. And many roundabouts, traditional crossroads, and similar arrangements, it has displayed a far greater destructive potential. The highest measured force exerted by SCP-1251 at a Payne Circle mini roundabout is 1,200 Newton per kilogram, which I don't sadly know what that means, like how much force that is. Maybe we can look it up. Newtons. Two kilograms. Kilogram force. So it just says 122 kilogram force, which I still don't know. That doesn't really help me much. But basically, it's saying that it's basically saying like you got hit by like an overweight person, if that's the amount of force. Well, now it says per kilogram, right? So that's actually higher. It's not, because it could, whatever the weight is of the object, it will be that times. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of force. It's very destructive. It's like getting hit by a train, basically. Use of ground penetrating radar has located a mass 1.8 meter below site 1251, revealed by ferromagnetic imaging to be a metal cage consistent with a 16th century gibbet. No corresponding execution was recorded on the site, and further tests following SCP-1251 shifting to a new location showed that the object had disappeared, only for a similar mass to be detected at SCP-1251's new site. It can safely be assumed that this object or what it contains is cause of SCP-1251. Attempts to excavate the effect area while SCP-1251 is in relatively low activity state to retrieve this object have thus far been unsuccessful. As removal of large amounts of material from SCP-1251 currents has been observed to dramatically increase the pseudo-gravitational force exerted by the anomaly. Study of traffic accidents recorded indicate that SCP-1251 may have been operating for some time. A moving accident black spot can be traced moving through the road network, apparently originating in Folkestone, UK. Correspondent with colleagues in Sector 26 suggests that SCP-1251 may have been active in France before apparently jumping to the UK via the Channel Tunnel. Given this new information, priority is to be given to finding a way of reliably controlling SCP-1251 direction of a shift so it can be guided towards a secure facility or at least an unpopulated area. Otherwise, there's a significant danger that SCP-1251 will eventually leave Sector 25's jurisdiction. So basically, imagine it's a roundabout and you just trying to go around with the car, and next thing you know, it's just like vroom, 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 it just sends you fucking flying. That's what it does. SCP-1251 came to the Foundation attention due to the pile-up at a rural roundabout in emergency services arriving on the scene immediately, sustained near-identical vehicular damage and casualties, and a fast response team was dispatched to investigate. It was quickly established that SCP-1251 was exerting an anomalous force of approximately 1 Newton per kilogram within the area of the roundabout. Personnel represented himself as a member of the explosive ordnance team, and the incident was reported as an act of terrorism targeted at the most senior casualty of the pileup, a parliamentary undersecretary of state returning from the delegation in Indonesia. Surrounding roads were immediately closed under the cover of repair work. Containment was lost on the 29th day of the Foundation presence. The team began experimentation on the morning of to discover that Site 1 is no longer possessed at any anomalous qualities. Sector 25 began intercepting police and emergency services notification from a site 1.5 miles away from the containment zone. Upon arrival... Hello, Valkyrie, are you there? Upon arrival, it was discovered that a car had become stranded on a traffic island. The occupant had reported difficulty leaving the vehicle. Further measurement indicated that the roundabout was exerting an attractive force of 1.6 Newton per kilogram. The team was faced with the challenge of winding up operations at Site 1, while simultaneously securing Site 2 using the pretext of a road subsidence. And then number 1, agent tasked with supervising the on-site team has been placed on leave due to the mental and physical exhaustion exhibiting a previously undiagnosed nervous condition. See log 1. How long is this? Okay, I'll read that. 05 has read the medical report produced by doctor and is satisfied that the content of agent feels log are the product of stress and poor deployment practice leading to a personal crisis rather than further anomalous behavior exhibited by SB1251. Agent is not to return to active duty unless cleared by the Foundation psychiatrist. And then 2, significant progress has been made in guiding the movement of SB1251. The anomaly shows a clear preference for traveling along open publicly owned roads without doubling back on itself, and furthermore favors intersection with a specific configuration, to wit, through a road with second road intersection at the right angle, low dome, mini roundabout without double yellow lines. By applying pressure on local government bodies to temporarily close and or transfer strategic, I cannot say the word anymore. What the hell? Strategic. I cannot say it. What's happening? Strategic. Fuck it. Sections of road to the Foundation ownership. The containment team has been able to encourage SB1251 to move along strategic. There we go. Strategic. Oh, fucking hell. Along a more or less predictable route. Current projection indicate that SB1251 can be guided to Site 60 within the next 2 years, where it can be safely contained by placing it on track comprising 2 mini roundabouts on a circular carriage and linked by a further road. The behavior SB1251 exhibits when choosing its next location suggests it may have some degree of sentience. Further research is advisable. And what do we have here? This is the log. Can you imagine? You're just on the road having a nice drive, and next thing you know, your car suddenly speeds up and goes in a curve and just flings somewhere across. The following I wonder if it flings or if it stops. Like, does it actually make you fling somewhere, or does it just... It's like they're like an invisible wall, almost, because of the force of Newton exhibits. The following comprises exit from agent... Field notes on. Agent was assigned the task of supervising the team assigned to SB1251, an autonomous phenomenon on the ongoing containment in the UK road network. The circumstances of agent transfer are the subject of a formal complaint and are currently under review by the Sector 25 Disciplinary Board, but it is noteworthy that it occurred immediately after incident 1, on which agent was lead containment officer. Initial recovery procedures for SB1251 require 5 personnel to remain on site under the cover of a road maintenance team until the full containment was achieved, with the expectation that the original site could be permanently removed from the road network and converted into a Foundation facility in similar fashion to other localized phenomena. Temporary housing was provided in the form of work tents and personnel obliged to sleep and eat in the containment area. A budget was allocated for food purchases and plans made for Site 1 to be provided with electric power. However, the discovery of the mobile nature of SB1251 meant that plans for lighting, heating, and entertainment were never fully implemented and remained on an ad hoc is that how you say it? Basis. Furthermore, the budget initially allocated the site Side 1 was not carried forward due to an administrative error. An informal relief fund set up for the containment team was established at Sector 25 by Dr. but was confiscated by sector management as inappropriate. Following a review of containment measures, a mobile containment unit has since been established with a dedicated vehicle, electricity generator, TV, microwave and heating units, and a permanent budget for food and entertainment. 7. Arrived on site today and was shocked at the ramshackle nature of containment measures. Personnel have been spending their own money on food because credit cards and accounts initially allocated to the team have been allowed to run empty. Complaints to have apparently gone unanswered. Several members of the team appear to be under the impression that the stint on 1251 is time limited and have asked me when they will be able to return to their families. Despite this, the team remains dedicated to containment and has been doing wonders when the limited resources available. 9th, the weather is getting colder. I attempted to contact Sector 25, but it looks like the location-specific email and phone key codes are not being updated when SB 1251 moves. I personally purchased and distributed a number of small gas heaters. Several of the remote cameras used to monitor surrounding traffic intersections have failed and have had to be replaced with consumer products, again purchased at the team's own expense. I strongly urge that containment measures for 1251 be revised. This is not a temporary containment situation, should not be treated as one. Same date as before. It was not necessary to tell the team that 1251 is being generated by a corpse of a highwayman or whatever it is. We have enough bad dreams. This road is haunted. 10th. We have now experienced 6 weeks of almost unbroken rainfall. Equipment remains in a critical state and the suspension of testing due to the weather has removed the team's last line of communication with personnel from Sector 25. 11th. 10B has been lost. The radius of 1251's attractive effect varies slightly between locations. It was misplaced during the setup only to a fault with one of our spring scales. Agent and woke up this morning to find the tent had been apparently blown away. It's now wrapped around the crossroads sign. We will attempt to recover it once 1251 moves on, though I suspect it will be unusable. Same date as before. We have been eating takeaway for 5 months. So please, for the love of Christ, give us something good to eat. Same day as before. Agent hasn't had an encounter with a local resident who demanded to know when normal road service will be resumed. Communication with Sector 25 was still almost non-existent. We were unaware that the road has been officially closed for emergency water main repairs, and instead informed the question that a hitch had been encountered while laying fiber optic cable. The discrepancy was picked up on immediately, and an ugly confrontation was had with the resident and subsequently with a police constable who became convinced that our purpose was criminal. Fortunately, his immediate superior lieutenant is associated with the Foundation. We understand he has been able to represent the situation as a special branch investigation. I have asked the lieutenant to communicate the urgent nature of shortages at 1251's containment site. You're lucky that you had somebody who was like from the Foundation in that work. Imagine trying to like bullshit your way out of that. Because especially if you've been there for 5 months, after a while people will be like, hey, when can we use this road again? Morale is appalling. If conditions continue, we will see desertions. 12. Merry fucking Christmas. First, Agent left today. He said he planned to return to Sector 25 and report that containment had been breached to draw attention to the situation here. Oh, he's gonna lie. Agent did not return to Sector 25 and his whereabouts are currently unknown. A termination order is currently pending. Oh, he's dead. They killed him. They definitely killed him. Because they probably forgot that he was lying. And they were like, we don't like liars around here. I tried to contact Lieutenant. The station said that they have no record of him ever working there. Official extraction and examine with use of amnestics. A lunatic outbreak somewhere else around people's memories. Who knows? I think they just didn't appreciate him stepping out of line and were like, You know too much. No word from. I overheard agent openly discussing suicide by walking into 1251 in a highly active state. Whoa. My man, calm down. No such agent was assigned to SB-1251. None of the other agents are assigned any recollection of any other crew member by that name. The possibility of wide-ranging mimetic activity has been considered. However, apart from Agent Log, there's simply no indication this individual is real. Wait a minute, what? You haven't. So one agent is missing, and another agent showed up that you guys don't recall. I'd be highly concerned about that. I'm an agent of the Foundation. Does the Foundation exist? Does it make more sense to assume that I'm just a worker on some road maintenance site somewhere who's gone mad? Does the world outside the yellow tape exist? I'm okay. I'm okay. It doesn't sound like you're okay. I feel like this thing is driving you nuts. Second, last night I dreamt that it had stopped raining. I got out of the sleeping bag and wandered around. The sky was utterly dark. No moon, no stars, but the ground was perfectly illuminated. I walked into 1251's area of effect and it didn't touch me. I screamed, it's not gravity, it's acceleration. Everything made so much sense. Okay, so I don't know who wrote that. It wasn't me, it's not my handwriting. Someone is fucking around with my log. Graphological comparison proved this to be conclusively agent handwriting. Okay, is it this? It's this agent, right? Not that agent. So this agent here that just showed up out of nowhere is now messing with them. Okay, but for what reason? 1251 8 today. What do you mean? It ate blank today. We heard him yelling and got out of a sleeping bags. I couldn't see the moon anywhere. He was standing at the roundabout entrance. He said it's all a lie. There was never a foundation and walked in. 1251 shouldn't have been in a high activity state, but it sucked him in and buried him anyway. Then it moved. There's two of them now. Two 1251s roaming around. God help us all, and when the scientists come back from their wide world where the light and heat and everything works, they'll see under one of them is a corpse in a hard hat screaming. That's the meaning of the movement's Morse code. Each hour is a dot and each day a dash. That's all can do now. One letter a month as he goes mad under the black soil. This is what he'll say. It's not gravity, it's acceleration. Agent he reports a death on site as well as further phenomena associated with SB-1251, including an unscheduled shift. These do not seem to correspond to actual events, and agent no longer recalls making this entry. As far as can be established, there's still only one instance of SB-1251. Agent Morse code hypothesis appears to be unfound based on SB-1251's movement to date. I think everybody's just going nuts. After my tent, you have to kill me. Agent was placed in the care of Foundation medical staff on his 256th day assigned to SB-125. They were there for almost a year. Like at least over half a year for sure. They were there for almost 3/4 of a year. God, that's a long time being at the same spot when it's a non-stop rain. Other crew members were also referred to for medical conditions, including poor nutrition and immersion foot syndrome. Sector management accepts that one side conditions were improper but maintains an appropriate level of contact with the team was kept throughout the period under consideration. All right. God, it's already an hour over and I only read the first two. Not good. Not good. A half-formed idea. That's not... half-formed idea. What if it's like the usual normal thing, but it's only like a car, but then at the end it's like there's a lot missing. I don't know how to explain that. Like, you know, like you have the car and you're like, okay, so this is a vehicle that's supposed to move, but then like the wheels are missing, something like that. So it's something that's supposed to just, nah, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't seem like an SCP. That seems like just somebody not finishing an idea, just kind of like gave up halfway. So I have no idea what this could be. Okay, here we go. Euclid. SCP-1252 is to be contained in a standard humanoid containment chamber large enough to also contain its designated life support system. SCP-1252 is to be attended by a team of medical personnel in a manner detailed in Treatment Schedule L. SCP-1252 is to receive nutrition through intravenous therapy. Do I have my... It's over there. Okay, I need to like clean those glasses soon. SCP-1252 is to receive nutrition through intravenous therapy as detailed in Treatment Schedule L until the subject's digestive system is deemed functional. SCP-1252 is to be led to believe that Susie, or Susan May Fox, is currently alive and is undergoing treatment in a local hospital specializing in children. Personnel are encouraged to reinforce this belief with SCP-1252 whenever it brings up the subject. Personnel are further encouraged to emphasize the subject exercise patience in waiting for Susie's return. You guys heard that, right? That was... Should it begin to show skepticism, personnel are to maintain the established fabrication, notify Dr. Leo immediately to further instructions. Okay, SCP-1252. Well, I mean, I just heard this like, and I was like, what the hell was that? That's why I'm asking, like, if you guys heard it. It sounded very mechanical, so that's why I was like, SCP-1252 is a sapient adult humanoid of no, we didn't. Well, fuck. SCP-1252. Let's see what's the sensitivity at. It's a sapient adult humanoid of indeterminate sex, approximately 43 kilograms in mass and 1.78 meters in height. SCP-1252 appears to be missing at least half of its body mass, mostly in the form of muscle, fat, bone, and skin tissue. The only limbs or organs entirely intact are the left arm, heart, and brain. Despite its injury, the subject is capable of speech. Most of the remaining internal organs are composed of what appears to be compressed insect wing material, which maintains structural integrity only while part of SCP-1252. Once removed, it rapidly separates into non-anomalous wing scales. Approximately 23% of SCP-1252 skin appears to be made up of rings from multiple species in the Papilionidae, swallowtail butterfly, and Libulidae, skimmer-perchers, dragonflies families. It's an insect human. SCP-1252's left eye has been replaced with a Clerodendron ugendens, blue glory bower or blue butterfly bush flower. The eye is not believed to be capable of sight and does not blink. Although capable of regeneration, SCP-1252 does not seem to be able to fully recover any missing skin or other body tissues until it achieves a maximum body mass of 43 kilograms. All healing of internal organs and skin stops. So it's an insect human being that can only have a certain amount of weight, regenerates that injury or weight back. SCP-1252's behavior remains highly cooperative, partially due to the fabrication detailed in its special containment procedures. Despite its cooperation, the exact nature of SCP-1252 remains unknown. New information or theories are to be reported to Dr. Leo. Well, we have an interview here. March 2000 SB1252, Dr. Blake. The interview was conducted 2 days after the Foundation acquisition of SB1252, as it was previously not healthy enough to communicate and was temporarily kept in a isolated room in medical wing at Site 37 for recovery. Begin log. So, you're SB1252, right? Attempts a shrug. No verbal response. Lifting through clipboard. Could you explain what exactly you're supposed to be? I'm supposed to be Susie's very best friend. Well, Susie's what the French called her. Right. Could you please explain why you have insect wings on your skin? Susie always liked butterflies. Dragonflies too. They were pretty. And flowers. Her mother grew lots of flowers. But back before her parents separated and her mother had to move into her apartment, SB1252 briefly lifts its left hand up to touch his left arm. Okay, who is this Susie? A slight pause as it adjusts to oxygen mask and inhales deeply several times. Her full name is Susan May Fox. Another pause and several deep inhalations. She lives on 60 Maple Road in... She goes to elementary school and is in second grade. Could you find her and tell her I'm okay? We got separated in an accident. I don't want her to worry. Please detail this accident you mentioned. Several deep inhalations. I don't really know what happened. I'm sorry, I couldn't be of more help. I just know I was supposed to be her very best friend, but something interrupted her thoughts. And so when you find her, she can explain everything. She's a smart girl, and when you find her, could you please bring her to me, so I can be finished? I'm sure she would appreciate it. No, at this point, SB1252 becomes very excited, prompting a medical personnel to signal Dr. Blake and end the interview. We will do what we can, SB1252. So is SB1252 a figment of some girl's imagination, and she just gave up halfway? I feel bad for it. It's like, why did you give me life if you're not going to finish my construction? And then it reminds me of the teddy bear from Supernatural, where like it's like where like a little girl wishes her teddy bear was like really big and was able to like talk to her. So the bear became like human sized and sentient, but instead of being all like, go, let's have some jolly good time. He was like depressed because of his sentience. So he just asks Sam and Dean as he was watching TV, and the TV shows like some like really depressing stuff. He just asked him like, is there all there is to this? Just like absolutely like mentally destroyed. SCP-1252 has requested the following. March 21st, 2000, I'm not going to make beeps for all this. Pain medication denied on grounds of poor health. March 25th, 2000, I'm just going to say the month, it's all the same year. A variety of candies denied on grounds of poor health. April 1st, access to outside air denied on grounds of poor health. April 29th, 1 copy of Beatrix Potter, complete tale by Beatrix Potter, approved. SCP-1252 is to be allowed access for continued cooperative behavior. May 27th, stationary for purposes of self-expression and entertainment. Approved. SCP-1252 is to be allowed access to wax, crayon, and paper for continued cooperative behavior. October 10th, to receive a future letter being delivered to it. The letter arrived approximately 48 hours later at SCP-1252's door. The letter had no return address, and the message contained details of Susie's condition written in neat blue ink. It is unknown how SCP-1252 knew about the letter or how the letter appeared. They are on grounds of possible anomalous activity. Yeah, maybe Susie doesn't exist. Maybe Susie is... Maybe Susie is not a part of the SCP, is what I wanted to say. Poor dude. Poor guy just wants to be complete. Please let me be complete. The Quechan priests. I don't think I have anything I can really add to that. So we just go on. Okay. Euclid. Mobile Task Force Omicron 19 Lightning is currently assigned to the tracking, observation, and recovery of -1 instances. All exposed subjects are monitored for correlation. All witnesses are administered Class C amnestics, and all compromising media is destroyed. Recovered -1 instances are stored in humanoid containment units, which are secured with digital combination logs. Access codes to -1 instances are shuttled on a bi-monthly basis and distributed to associated researchers, Site Security, and Site Command. -1 testing is conducted with the notification of Site Director Davis. SB1253 is a phenomenon affecting various cities in Bolivia and Peru. In the event of war, famine, or death of a prominent political leader, -1 instances will progress from an unknown origin point to the affected cities. Or some group of people just show up, like fittingly every time somebody dies. And -1 instances are sapient automatons capable of conversing in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Quechua? Is that how you say it? -1 instances are constructed of heavily decayed organic material, including entrails, limbs, and genitalia. No, that's just delicious. This material has been identified as originating from a variety of sources, including Vicuña pacos or alpaca specimen. The anatomy of -1 instances is lacking in organs, musculature, and skeletal structure, and is currently unknown as to how instances retain autonomy. -1 instances also display various behavioral quirks, including decorating themselves with feather, bead bracelets, and necklaces, carving various patterns into themselves and objects, and conversing with themselves. -1 instances will interact with subject in the 6 to 15 age range. Subject will exhibit severely impaired judgment and be convinced by -1 instances to progress to the nearest high altitude landform. Is this thing trying to say is this supposed to be trying to get people killed? Because it berates you and then you go up to the highest platform. -1 instances will instruct subjects in a polytheistic religion bearing heavy similarity to the Quechan religion. Instances will explain the structure of this religion, the procedures for various ceremonies, rituals, and feast days, and demonstrate how to correctly conduct capococha. Subjects who have experienced SB1253 phenomenon appear to maintain various correlations. The majority of subjects demonstrate symptoms of obsessive-compulsive disorder, including paranoia and intrusive thoughts, as well as apparent sociopathy and criminal tendencies. A minority of subjects also claim membership to the Children of the Sun. The existence of such an organization has not been verified. There is some doubt to its existence. Okay. And then the -1 topic table, reincarnation and the afterlife. -1 instances will explain the reincarnation process and the afterlife. Instances will state that the soul of the deceased, the Kamaquin, will be guided by the canine. The passage to the afterlife will emphasize the importance that the deceased corpse is not incinerated, which would threaten the Kamaquin's passing to the afterlife. Various deities. -1 instances will explain the various domains of the deities, which include Inti, Apu, Ilapu, Viracocha, Manco, Kabak. Correct worship of the deities. -1 instances will explain how to properly pray to the various gods and which god to pray for the various blessings, such as how Apu, Ilapu should be praised for rain. The conduction of festivals, ceremonies, and rituals. -1 instances will explain the proper conduction of various ceremonies, what ceremonial garb is required, and what sacrifices are needed. Emphasized is the Inti Raymi celebration. Inca culture. -1 instances will explain the social structure and history of the Inca culture, with particular emphasis to colonial resistance. Sapa Inca. -1 instances will explain how modern politicians in Argentina, Bolivia, Chile, Colombia, and Ecuador are spiritual successors of Supper Inca, the Great Inca. More politicians though, not normal people. Shame. War. Dash one instance will educate topics in the manner of currently using the bola, the two orbs on strings thing, staging ambushes and setting traps, and explain the necessity of resisting against Spanish, Portuguese, and Dutch incursion into the South America for the sake of the preservation of the Inca religion and culture. Couple culture. That one instance will explain the importance of sacrificing a child to the gods during during famine, who are or upon the death of one of the spiritual successors of Supper. You make me yawn. That I'm sorry. I'm tired myself. I wanted to make some G Fuel, but then I was thinking like, well, I'm probably gonna be late. And if I drink G Fuel, then I'm just gonna be awake until like 4 a.m, and then I'm gonna be tired for the next stream. We will be killed by strangulations. You guys just deal with the yawns, okay? Maybe if you talk to me. No, just kidding. Transcript -1. Transcript of -1 self-conversing while in containment, translated from Quechua, courtesy of archives log. Sorry. So 4 seconds. You know the dictates of the makers as well as any of us. Purge and punish. Purge and punish. We have such sights to show you. I don't know why I imagine Hellraiser, Pinhead, to be the one. Oh no, please, no more tears. It's a waste of good suffering. You are clearly defective. You speak heresy, purchased from your computation. I warn you, the makers always learn of defectives. The box. Such pretentious are foul. They would do to you what they are doing to me. They wouldn't treat you better. Traitors get what they deserve. You wouldn't do that. If we still resist, there's still hope. You would have done the same. No, Silence, you won't betray us. You cheap, you scandalous whore. I'll bludgeon you and tear you off your limbs. Defective conquistador, I'll kill you, I'll get you, I'll kill you, I'll get you while you sleep, I'll get you while you sleep, die. So this must be like just like the spiritual remains of like people who got killed. That's why the whole like follow this type of step, because they're talking about like the religion of a civilization that doesn't exist anymore. Yeah, here we go. There we go. Paper people. Yeah, well, I was just imagining the people made out of paper, huh? I don't think there's anything more complicated behind that. Neutralized. Euclid. The building SB1254 is held in it to be permanently closed to the public. Due to SB1254's close proximity to a busy shopping district, a false storefront owned and operated by a foundation fund company has been constructed in order to ally any possible suspicion. SB1254 is to be treated as an active archaeological site with strict environmental controls and safeguards to prevent any possible damage. Personnel within SB1254 must exercise caution at all times and refrain from causing any unnecessary disturbances to SB1254. No further containment measures are necessary. Personnel exiting SCP-1254 to be fully decontaminated before being allowed to leave the building. Cameras are to be installed in order to observe -1 behavior and the progress of -2's construction. Armed guards are to be kept on standby in the event of -2 activates. SCP-1254 in the entire stock of books in a... Wait, SCP-1254 is the entire stock of books in a bookstore located in California. While SCP-1254 appears to be a set of standard books, on the outside closer examination reveals the interior of the books had been called out to construct several miniature civilizations. The inhabitants dubbed -1 were miniature humanoids that were nearly identical to normal humans in every respect except for size. The average height was approximately 5 millimeters. That's pretty fucking tiny. That's pretty small. No. Archaeological analysis of the few remaining intact samples of SCP-1254 suggests that -1 possessed the ability or technology to convert paper into any conceivable material. Those intact samples contain stone structures that bore many similarities to ancient Greek and Roman architecture. Study of the damaged samples of SCP-1254 shows the remains of more advanced materials such as concrete, steel, carbon fiber, trace amounts of uranium, as well as several as of yet unidentified materials. There is even evidence of the existence of organic foodstuffs. In addition, the number of distinct civilizations within SCP-1254 corresponded to the number of different sections the bookstore contained. The knowledge base each -1 civilizations possessed also corresponded to the type of books they inhabited. So if it's a fantasy books, they have the knowledge of the fantasy books, I assume. If it's a crime book, they have the knowledge of that book. For example, the science fiction section showed a more rapid pace of technological development, while the fantasy section largely remained in the medieval era. The civilization in the non-fiction section was the one that most closely correlated to the current time period. Yeah, of course, it's non-fiction, and a lot of times they're like based on like time-wise, they're based on the time of when the story was written. Because the moment you like make anything sound like in the future or in the past, if it's past, it's a history book. If it's the future, it's fiction. So. There's definite proof that these civilizations were aware and interacted with each other with border books, exhibiting a blend of various architectural styles that neighboring samples of SCP-1254 lacked. However, 99% of SCP-1254 was destroyed or irreparably damaged due to the fire that took place before its discovery. Forensic analysis suggests that the fire started in the young adult section of the bookstore. Trace radiation readings, as well as the remains of various types of weaponry, suggest that the fire was started as the result of the miniature thermonuclear war between one or more of the SCP-1254 civilization, which proceeded to wipe out the entire -1 population. That's an actual genocide for the paper people. SCP-1254 was first discovered after the previously mentioned fire. The local fire department corresponding to the cause of suspected arson started their own forensic investigation, discovering the remains of SCP-1254. The Foundation was alerted and took control of the site, administering amnestics to the entire forensic team. The bookstore had already been closed indefinitely for several months due to the financial trouble, though none of the books were planned to be moved to the responsibility of a buyout. As a result, SCP-1254's existence went unnoticed until the fire. Living specimens of -1... discovered on... That's what I wanted to do. I just skipped 3 words. Immediately jumped to the bleeping. During a routine archaeological survey, researchers Wilkes caught sight of a small group of -1 survivors and managed to record the entire event with his head-mounted camera. 7 individuals wearing full nuclear, biological, chemical gear were witnessed moving through a destroyed copy of Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows, possibly scavenging for supplies. Just, please, we just need stuff. Just give us anything. We can give you some butterbeer. Yeah, whatever the fuck. Ooh, ooh, that's nice. The small Dash 1 groups then saw researchers Wilkes and fled deeper in the book, breaking visual contact. Containment measures and object classification revised in light of confirmed existence of living Dash 1 specimens. Maintenance grew responding to a malfunction in the building air conditioning systems. Found a miniature aircraft of unknown manufacturer attempting to break through one of the filters. The aircraft was captured and taken to the nearest Foundation lab for research. Attempts to contact the crew were met with limited success, as the only response received was several broadcasted radio transmissions that were a mix of screaming and exclamation of broken Latin phrases. Yeah, of course, you guys are literal, like, more than giants. You are like They're 5mm big. They probably think they're looking at God right now. Like 2 hours after the aircraft goes silent, permission is granted to forcibly remove the crew for study. Close examination of cross sections of the aircraft showed the crew having committed mass suicide. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, imagine like you were in a plane and then you look out and you just see this giant creature, like with their foot is the size of a skyscraper. You would also be here. You also be worried. I mean, and then you can hear them say something. I mean, you probably won't understand it because you spoke Latin, but you hear them say something about like, oh, let's experiment on them. You also would be like, no. No, I won't let you. You fucking bastards. I won't let you do that. Security cameras observe suspicious movement in one of the storage rooms. Remote viewing by drones and cameras show groups of Dash 1 gathering as much intact paper as possible and depositing it into the storage room. Further surveillance shows Dash 1 attempting to construct a full-size humanoid with the paper being collected. Based on visual analysis, completion of Dash 2 is at roughly 25%. Containment procedures are updated in response. Those little paper people, they're like... Fireworks? Really? What the fuck was that all about? There was fireworks right by my building. Drunk people, I assume, but that was weird. That was odd. Grapes from Dawn Farm and Ranch. Well, I don't know what those grapes... I mean, unless they give you superpowers, I'm not sure what those grapes will do. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, they look surprised. They look very red. So if I'm totally gonna go, I need to walk my dog still. I'm pretty tired, so I'll head in a bit afterwards. Yeah, no, that's no problem. I wish I started a half an hour earlier, but that's it happens. I'm also like getting slowly tired, and we reached the halfway point, and this looks like a packed one as well. Yeah, this is going. Okay. It's okay. You can do it. I see you. Yeah, I mean, I'm yawning the whole time. See you. Yeah, see you soon. Hopefully tomorrow, for tomorrow's stream, and tomorrow I will be a bit more awake. All instances of SB1255 are to be preserved in an airtight container and kept in a freezer unit maintained at a temperature of -17 degrees Celsius. All containers storing SCP-1255 instances must be clearly labeled that they are not for consumption. In the event personnel are found to have consumed SCP-1255, medical staff should be immediately contacted for an emergency expulsion of stomach contents to prevent conversion into -1. There are currently 3 instances of -1 in containment. Live instances of -1 should be contained at Site 6-3 in a standard 5x7 meter containment chamber with a heat lamp, and to be inspected by monthly for instances of SB1255. Instances of -1 are to be provided 2 liters of water bi-weekly. Testing of -1 instances must be approved by Dr. Tapp. Investigation into the group of interest Dawn Farm and Ranch is currently ongoing. Those grapes look... I'm not sure if they edited it or if that's actually a grape variation, but they look very red in that picture. SB1255 is a species of Vitis vinifera. I mean, grapes, yeah. You could have just said grapes. Genetically similar to the red globe variation. Oh, so there is a red globe. You know what? Red globe grapes. Yeah. So they are like red grapes. Must be in a while. I'm pretty sure I had some of them, but must be in a while since I had them. Instances of SB1255 are often reddish pink in color and contain microscopic seeds. Consumption of SB1255 will cause the subject herein referred to as -1 to experience a series of physical and mental changes, otherwise referred to as the growth cycle. These changes have now been noted to be similar to those experienced in the late stages of SB3342 implementation. Upon an MRI scan of an -1 instance, it has been discovered that the seeds within SB1255 will become attached to the outer tissue of the stomach wall. Upon consumption, the seeds will emit an unknown acidic substance, breaking down the stomach fibers enough not to harm -1 and for the seeds to exit the stomach and enter the bloodstream. SB1255 possesses a gene that allows it to trick the white blood cells into allowing its seeds to travel through the bloodstream as a non-foreign object. SB1255 seeds will travel through the veins of -1 until it reaches the brain. SB1255 will sprout within the brain of -1, altering the memories and behavior of the host in order to aid in the spread and survival of SB1255. -1 will experience these changes over a period of time ranging between 1 week to 1 month. The growth cycle occurs over the following stages. MRI scan of a -1 instance. Note the presence of the SB1255 sprout. So that's a sprout, I assume. Stage 0. Stage 0 has only been found to occur during the first growth cycle of -1 due to the SB1255 not being at its potency. All subsequent cycles begin at stage 1. Stage 1 -1 will feel a compulsion to seek out the nearest light source available. Instances of -1 seem to prefer being in a source of sunlight, but will often resort to using artificial light should sunlight be unavailable. -1's vein will become more visible on the skin and will become dark green in color. Stage 2, -1 will enter a catatonic state under the light source. -1's vein will grow out of -1's skin in the form of thick, waxy vines. These vines will grow around instances of -1. -1 will no longer require energy from food and rather gain energy from photosynthesis. In addition, to fingernails of -1 will mutate into a thin wood. The fingernails will begin growing at 100 to 1,000 times the rate of the normal human fingernails, capable of growing up to 3 meters per day. Oof. That must be annoying to cut. Stage 3, the vines produced by -1 will produce green bud-like flowers. Stage 4. SB1255 does not appear to require pollen from other instances of -1 in order to successfully germinate. Self-pollination methods are the accepted theory at this time. The flowers will grow into instances of SB1255. Stage 5, once at least 1 kilogram of SB12555 have reached fruition. The label, I don't know. Dash 1 will gain consciousness and begin harvesting the SB1255 instances. Dash 1's fingernail will have grown into a basket shape and is used to hold the SB1255 instances. Stage 6, after every instance of SB1255 has been harvested, the vines surrounding Dash 1 will retract back into the body of Dash 1 and will return to a healthy blue color. The fingernails will also return to healthy human fingernails and will grow at a normal rate once again. After the growth cycle is completed, Dash 1 will then attempt to convince any nearby objects to consume SCP-1255. If no one is nearby, Dash 1 will distribute. If no one is nearby Dash 1 while distributing SCP-1255, then Dash 1 will leave the basket of SCP-1255 at the doorstep for someone to discover. When provided with paper, Dash 1 has been found to write the following note: "Hello, I recently moved in several blocks down and want to introduce myself to you. You weren't home at the time I came by, so I decided to leave my gift at your doorstep. I grew it myself. Sincerely, name." Dawn on 132 Raisin Drive. First name varies with each note produced. The first name is usually a variant of a common Western name, and this. The note will usually have a random combination of numbers on Raisin Drive while records exist of Raisin Drive While records exist of Raisin Drive exists in 5. So the exists is for some reason tries. While records of Raisin Drive exist in 5 separate countries around the world, the addresses listed on the notes are always fake. When there are no remaining instances of SB1255 left to distribute, Dash 1 will re-enter the growth cycle. Dash 1 usually have a life expectancy of less than 1 year upon expiration. Dash 1 will decompose at 10 times the rate of a normal human cadaver, leaving remains of SB1255 in the remains. And then the one, SB1255 was first discovered in California after reports of a family of human-plant hybrids were spotted in a local residence resulted in the dispatch of MTF feather fall gardeners. 5 instances of Dash 1 in the stage 4 phase of the growth cycle were found in the backyard of the location. The subjects were identified as the Rivera family, including 1 adult male, 1 adult female, 2 adolescent males, and 1 juvenile female. And then we have a Dawn Farm and Ranch, the postcard discovered upon recovery. What the fuck? Family owned and operated since 1976. During an inspection of the residence, a basket containing SB1255 was found in the kitchen of the building. MTF Theta 6 had quickly matched the SB1255 instances to the fruit growing on several of the Dash 1 instances. A postcode was discovered nearby the basket, written in cursive on the front is Dawn Farm and Ranch. The back of the note states the following: "Congratulations, out of the nearby homes in the area, your residence was selected as the first to enjoy a sample basket of our newest, juiciest red grape crop. We hope you enjoyed the first of our new grape crop as much as we do, since you are the first to get a taste. Sincerely, Dawn Farm and Ranch, 132 Raisin Drive." Dawn Farm and Ranch prides himself in providing healthy food to our consumers. Dawn Farm and Ranch has been family owned and operated for over 30 years and has never failed to satisfy. If you are unsatisfied with our product, please contact us at 1-800-DAWN. 1-800-DAWN does not exist on any existing telephone location. Calling the number results in a recorded voice informing the caller that the number does not exist. Of course it does. The 5 instances of Dash 1 and the container of SB1255 were both covered without any casualties. Class A amnestics were administered to witnesses of the Dash 1 instances. Now the interview. Interview 2. Dr. Tapp, an instance of Dash 1, formerly D58 Personal D5890 now refers to himself as Danny Dawn, despite the name prior to consuming SB1255 being Ellie Smirnov. Good evening, dash one. You may call me Dr. Tup. I was hoping that I could ask you a few questions today. Nice to meet you, neighbor. Nice to meet you, neighbor. My name is Danny Dawn. I enjoy growing produce in my free time. I was hoping you could taste one of my delicious grapes. They're free of charge, sir. I will make sure to try one of them after you answer several of my questions. False silence. Okay, first of all, how do you grow your produce? I grow it on my farm, of course. Where else? Can you tell me where your farm is located? Just a few kilometers south from here on the Raisin Drive, neighbor. I'm surprised you haven't seen it. It's just about the prettiest farm around this country. Around this county, excuse me. Dash one, can you possibly tell me if you know where we are? There's snow surrounding this facility. It's impossible for you to be growing produce in these conditions. Silence. Dash one. Yes, neighbor? You didn't answer my question. Oh, my apologies, neighbor. To answer your question, I would say that my methods of growing my produce in such conditions come from my own special technique. During the winter time, I keep my produce in a greenhouse maintained at a temperature of 37 degrees Celsius. It's actually a fairly simple procedure that makes my produce just as delicious as if it were grown during the springtime. Speaking of which, you're really missing out on my grapes, Dr. Tab. You really should try at least one if you're going to be talking for a while. But are you aware of the locations we are in? You still haven't answered that portion of my question. Of course I'm aware, neighbor. This is obviously your lovely home. Where else would we be? Very well then, I suppose that's about as good as an answer I can receive here. My next question was that I was hoping you could tell me if you know who D5890 is. No, neighbor, I'm afraid I don't know who that is. D5890 was your classification number when you had first arrived here. Do you not remember anything? Neighbor, you started to make me feel concerned. I've been like this my entire life. I never once heard of anyone named D5890. This place, your home, has been just down the road ever since I moved to my farm on Raisin Avenue. I will say, though, that my time here at your home has been very hospitable. Ellie Smirnov, that was your name before you arrived here. Do you remember anything about your previous life, anything at all? Neighbor, I can understand that there's maybe something troubling you, but this is who I am and I've been my entire life. It troubles me greatly that you keep mistaking me for someone else. If it would make you feel better, my freshly plucked grapes are known for helping someone calm down. I believe my time here with you is up. You provided me with all I need to know today. Thanks for your cooperation, Dash 1. No problem at all, neighbor. I'm glad I could help you. Next time, you can just call me Danny instead of that weird number. Now then, will you please try all of my delicious grapes? I can promise you that they will be the best you ever tasted. End log. Absolutely not. Are you crazy? I don't want to be brainwashed by grapes. For that, we had the purple stuff in drinks. That brainwashed us enough already. There we go. Bees are smaller than you think. I mean, that's already a given, isn't it? All right. Mobile Task Force Setup for Beekeepers is currently assigned to the tracking and recovery of SB1256 instances. All exposed subjects are to be administered counter-mimetic therapy in Class C amnestics prior to release. Media Division 19P is to monitor internet media for SCP-1256 instances in the form of websites and downloadable files. Any online SCP-1256 instances are to be pulled and the source traced. SCP-1256 is a 24-page pamphlet entitled Bees Smaller Than You Think. Its content appears to be intended to be informative, however much of it's nonsensical. The cover page claims SCP-1256 was authored by Dylan Iote and Ryan Hughes and published by Red Rose Publishing Sydney in 1997. Red Rose Publishing Sydney has no record record of SB1256 publication, and neither author has any recollection of writing SB1256. Individual pages of SB1256 does not retain anomalous properties, and SB1256 may be excerpted without effect. It is only when SB1256 is read completely that its anomalous effects will manifest. An exposed subject is designated -1. -1 will perceive all members of the superfamily Apoida sapient. Contrary to its title, SB1256 effect applies to all members of Apoidea, including wasps. -1 will attempt to care for the insects to the exclusion of all other activities. This appears to be both the... My eye, man, it's slowly getting tired. This appears to be both the detriment of -1 and the insects that the attempt of -1 to collect food, repair to the hive, and assist in the reproductive cycle of the queen. Specimens typically result in the exploration of multiple insects and is met with hostility. SB1256 was initially recovered from the family property 13 kilometers from Australia by embedded agents in the NSW police force during the investigation of the murder case. 4 cadavers were found gagged, coated in honey, and bound to the chairs and duct tape nearby the family bee farm. The 17-year-old eldest daughter was arrested and charged with 4 cases of murder, was found to be unfit to stand trial, and was institutionalized. And then the document 1256 alpha, except of SB1256 bees smaller than you think. You think bees are bees, but did you know they're not? That's right, bees are smaller than you think. You think you farm the bees and steal their honey, but you actually don't, because bees are smaller than you think. Why do you think the bees disappeared? The bees knew we screwed the earth before it all went to shit. Before we even knew about global warming, bees knew, because bees are smaller than you think. Some bees stayed because they loved you. You didn't think they loved you, did you? That's because bees are smaller than you think. They loved you so much and you didn't even know, you know. That's why we made this pamphlet, to show you how to farm bees for honey. How do you farm bees? In order to achieve maximum efficiency with your bee farm, you must embrace the bees spiritually. You must feel the emotional flow between yourself and the bees. And your bees. When you do not feel the spiritual energies of your bees, the bees do not feel the spiritual energies. Be understanding of your bees. Your bee isn't pretty productive, but do not anger yourself. Understand. Why can't he work? Is he a busy bee? Is he a social life? Understand the bee. Do not pressure the bee. This is the path to sad bee. Is this the bees movie, like trying to like make an SCP and be like, hey man, like listen, you gotta be nice to us. Do not expose your bees to liberal thoughts. Bees know that the ring guide of the queen is good for the hive. What happens if you make the bees socialist? What happens? They will vote the class system. The bees will say workers and soldiers are equal, even if it is not so. There will be hive anarchy everywhere. The bees will work for pleasure, not for hive. It is very anarchistic. Socialism is bad for bees. Most important, you love the bee unconditionally. You can't use the bees. You love you so much, and you just make the bees give and give. They stay for you, and you make them give. You love bees, not honey. How honey is a part of love. Follow our guide and have maximum return for your emotional investment. Document beta. Document held as evidence in the murder case and later confiscated by Foundation operators. March 12, 2010. They don't understand the bees, but they learn to love the bees like I do. They just need to have that spark, that connection, the epiphany, the moment in which you fully understand the bees and love in its truth. I've helped them, and they will see it soon. The bees will teach them. The bees are so smart. I've talked to them. They understand like no one else does, but you mustn't scare them. They sting when they hurt, and they die. They make a sacrifice for the hive. It's touching. Bees are more human than humans will ever be. I've heard the buzz. I love the bees, and soon they love them too. Love the bees. You gotta love the bees. All right, Agent Danny of Agent Danny of the SCP. Safe. All copies of SB1257 encompassing all instances of -1, -2, and -3 will be kept in a secure media vault at site. Any uncontained copies of SB1257 are to be recovered or destroyed by MTF MU53 Ebbert's thumb because of the nature of the original appearances of SB1257 and its widespread exposure to the public, MTF-MU 53 is also tasked to replace any new source of information about SB1257 as they discovered in whatever format they may appear, in accordance with Protocol Gamma 1257A, codename Snope's Revenge. I guess in like information about SB1257 is replaced with new information leading to the conclusion that SB1257 never existed and is a hoax. Protocol Gamma. No, it was Snoke, right? It wasn't Snope. Protocol Gamma 157A also requires that all original documentation discovered about SB1257 be replaced with forged copies omitting references to SB1257. Unauthorized persons exposed to copies of SB1257 or who evidence any knowledge about SB1257 shall be interrogated by the Foundation Intelligence Department, administer Class A amnestics, and have implanted post-hypnotic suggestions to reinforce the belief that SB1257 is a hoax. As of 5th, 27th, 19, original participants in the production of SB1257 have been found and either treated with amnestics or terminated. Study of SB1257 is limited to personnel of level 3 or higher, subject to approval by the Foundation Intelligence Department. SB1257 is an American produced half-hour situation comedy original titled Raising Danny that aired on the television network for 6 episodes in 1970. The instance of Dash One, the original production reels for all 12 episodes filmed recovered from the archives in 1980. Instances of SB1257-2 are the draft and shooting scripts in copies, including 4 episodes that were never shot. Instances of -3 are all other video recordings of the 6 episodes actually aired. The anomalous properties of SB1257 manifest in any and all video copies produced from the original series and in any copies of the scripts for those episodes every year beginning in mid-September. Video recordings and script for Raising Danny will change to reflect a new season of episodes. Replacement will begin with episode 1 and progress sequentially through each episode in order during each subsequent week. While the Foundation has access to the first 16 episodes of each season, it appears that each SCP-1257 season runs approximately 24 episodes, and here's a footnote: 12 via video copies, -1, and 4 only via unproduced copies, -2. Additionally, while new seasons of SB1257 occasionally produce hour-long specials, copies are always limited to the first half-hour running time of the original episodes of SCP-1257. Video copies of the original over-the-air broadcast of the first 6 episodes of SCP-1257 present a special case commercials recorded contemporary news with SCP-1257 will also show changes consistent with the content of SCP-1257, and updated videos have occasionally shown new bulletin and weather alerts that imply multiple points of divergence between the world that continues to produce SCP-1257 on our own. SCP-1257 original premise had a blank man named Tyler, played by Whitman Mayo, married to a white woman who already had a son by prior marriage. When the woman dies prior to the pilot episode, the man is left raising her son named Danny, played by Danny Bonaduce, as his own. Reviews of the original series recovered by the Foundation were universally unfavorable and referred to it as the unwanted bastard child of Stanford and son in the courtship of Eddie Father. Because of the anomalous properties of the SCP-1257, the Foundation has only been able to reconstruct a general outline to the original content of the series. Notes on selected episodes of SCP-1257 observed in Foundation custody, document S11, episode 3, Season 3, Episode 3, Tyler's date. Episode manifests 3 months after initial containment. One line in the script implies the assassination of American President Jimmy Carter in late 1978 or early 1979. Season 4, Episode 1, Bad Touch. Part 2, second half of the special episode ending Season 3, Eric, a young classmate of Danny, is the talk of a sexual predator using what appears to be a anomalous item manufactured by Dr. One Entertainment to lure his victims. Oh no. Oh fuck. That is messed up. Season 5, episode 10. The Senior Trip episode mentions a scandal where 10 members of the UK House of Commons have been publicly revealed as members of a cult that bears a strong resemblance to the Church of the Broken God. Season 6, episode 1, The Freshman. The title of SCP-1257 is changed to Danny. The premise of the series changes as well, dropping the title character and sending Danny to college in New York City with 5 of his classmates from high school. Footnote: including Eric, despite a 3-year age difference. Not Eric. The university lab appears to have specimens of SCP, and SCP. Season 6, episode 11. The plot of the episode concerns Eric's suspicion that one of the dorm mates might be secretly one of the. This turns out to be the misunderstanding from context. Appeared to prey on young women who have become endemic in Redacted, and seem to be a result of a containment breach of Redacted in Mexico City. Season 7, episode 2. Eric midterm Kappa when his episode manifested in SB-1257-3-12. A new advertisement appeared during the second break from Marshall Call and Dog Limited app promoted Redacted services for Redacted. So we have Dr. One Damon and Marshall Call and Dog in this one. Season 10, episode 1. The Job Hunt hour-long special introducing another change in premise. Danny has graduated college, is unemployed, and advertisements shown during Dash 3 instances show that the Eric character has been spun off into his own series. One scene implies that the global occult coalition has become public enough to run what want ads in the local newspaper. Season 10, episode 2. The new guy. The show titles is officially changed to Asian Danny of the SCP. It is clear from the script that the title the writers intended is actually Asian Danny of the SCP Foundation. However, in the title card and in the tape dialogue, Foundation is consistently omitted. The name does appear correctly in the background sets intended to represent Foundation locations. Danny has been employed as Level 1 security at Site 19, and through a series of mishap events, a containment breach of SB-173. God, my brain. Season 10, episode 5, the D-Class Act. Danny mishears a co-worker's conversation and becomes convinced he has been mistakenly reassigned to D-Class by the HR department. Season 10, episode 11, Leaping Lizards. Redacted. SB-682. Redacted. Details of SB-1257 episodes past Season 10 are only available with the approval of the Intelligence Department. Last 2 ones, I'm so tired. It always sucks to be tired for the SB streams. The Way of the Masters. Man, these are all like movie titles. Like none of them except Paper People and The Accident Black Spot and Alternate Reality Recorders, I was able to like guess what it is, but all the other ones are just like what am I supposed to say? The Way of the Masters. It sounds very martial arts like. Oh god. I was hoping this was not be long. It's not that long, to be honest. I'm just being a bitch. I'm just a tired bitch. Alright. Euclid. All materials relating to SCP-1258 are held in a locked document happening inside 19, with access restricted to clearance level 4 and above. Any organisms showing any effect of practicing SCP-1258 should be considered an instance of -1 and terminated immediately unless part of of an approved experiment. Standard foundation researches for anomalous animal activity should be cross-referenced with SB1258 markers. SB1258 is a martial art of unknown origin. Currently, the foundation has in its possession enough material in varying media to reconstruct several basic forms used to teach beginners, but little information on more advanced forms. The actual one is any organism which has the knowledge and capability of practicing SCP-1258 independently. When SCP-1258 is practiced by human beings, there is no observed anomalous effect. The anomalous effect of SCP-1258 manifests when movement of the style are performed within view of a non-human mammal. Placental mammals only. Marsupials display no anomalous effect. A mild compulsive effect causes all such animals to cease any non-essential activity and begin watching the performer. After a short period of passive observation, animals will begin attempting to duplicate the movement to the extent they're able to do. Due to the anatomical differences, some animals are more capable than others of imitating the movement of SCP-1258. But regardless of skill, Animals will continue practicing until either they are distracted by a pressing need, the need to eat, immediate danger, or the human performer stops or leaves the field of view. If the animal is permitted to observe and mimic SCP-1258 forms for a period of time, they will begin to develop human-like characteristics. Even a single exposure to SCP-1258 may be enough to cause these anomalous developments. Exact period of exposure necessary depends on multiple factors, including the species of subject, time spent performing, the skill of the human performer, and so forth. See experiment log below for further information. Generally, the process begins at a low level of gross anatomy. Quadrupedal organisms will develop leg musculature for bipedal stance. They will develop opposable thumbs on their hands, or equivalent structures will develop in size and stature to a minimum standing bipedal height of approximately 1 meter. Animals already larger than this will stay in the same size, though they will develop other quasi-human features. Additionally, virtually all animals will develop larger brains, with expansion most often seen in areas relating to language. These transformations require vast increased nutritional intake beyond what a healthy specimen should be able to consume normally. It is theorized that SCP-1258 also speeds up metabolic process in such a way as to allow for his high rate of growth. With adequate nutrition, subject growth will be retarded but will progress. Subject will continue to practice SCP-1258 even in the absence of the instructor of any materials related to SCP-1258 that may display knowledge of forms and movement which they have not been previously exposed to. This anomalous knowledge is theorized to be another side effect of the exposure to SCP-1258. Continual exposure will cause further expansion, development along these lines, and eventually development of the vocal cords or equivalent structures, jaw and esophagus. After enough exposure, subjects will be able to communicate verbally in human languages. Generally, animals will have... God, there's so much text. Generally, animals will have access to language and vocabulary they were exposed to prior to the development by SCP-1258. For example, an animal raised by an English speaker will have radioactively learned the English they heard their owners speaking. Furthermore, most animals also show language acquisition skills comparable to a human toddler, allowing them to learn at an accelerated rate. Subject intelligence will increase appreciably as they continue to practice SCP-1258 routines and forms, usually between 110 and 140 IQ as measured by standard foundation tests. Eventually, test subject will refuse to cooperate with humans in any capacity and will begin attempting to escape confinement by any means. For a partial list of animal experiments referred to an experiment log, let's just read those now. As a version of the experiment log for SCP-1258 is given below, a full log can be found in the document cabinet inside 19. Procedure. In order to minimize exposure and potential outbreaks of SCP-1258, a Foundation agent with experience In multiple forms of martial arts was given access to all materials related to SB-158. The Asian practiced multiple forms till performance was satisfactory. The Asian was recorded performing all known forms and movements when given targeted Class B amnestics to remove all knowledge of SB-158. Despite this precautions, the Asians was using forms similar to SB-158 1 month later during a raid on the Church of the Broken God. Group, presumably this was due to muscle memory or perhaps subconscious retention. H was eliminated to prevent uncontrolled spread. These recordings were then played back to groups of animals of varying speeds. Canis lupus, familiaris, domestic dog, varying breed, 37 specimens, 25 males, 13 females. 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. One specimen killed and autopsied at the end of each day. All specimens began watching immediately. 29 specimens attempted to copy movement during the first exposure. All individuals copied movements during the second exposure. Increased appetite following first day. Additional protein and other supplements provided further increases needed on following days. Alteration in gross musculature seen following day 7. Alterations in bone structure seen following day 12. Increased cranial diameter and altered vocal cords seen following day 14. Modified IQ test was presented on day 14. Average score 77. Experiment was forced to terminate prematurely. On day 15, one specimen displayed unexpected agitation and aggression. When the handlers entered the containment area to remove the specimen, all specimens attacked simultaneously. Emergency lockdown procedures enacted immediately. All specimens killed via nerve gas. Autopsies were consistent with observed results. God damn, that's a bit excessive, but okay. Ratus norvegicus, laboratory rat. 42 specimens, 26 males, 16 females. Normal nutritional supplement for a colony of this size was initially tripled. 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. One specimen killed and autopsy at the end of each day. All specimens began watching immediately. 20 specimens attempted to copy movement during the first exposure. 13 additional specimens copied movement during the second exposure. All specimens copied movements during the third exposure. Alteration in growth musculature seen following day 10. Alteration in bone structure seen following day 13. Population randomly sorted into groups following day 13. Control group received no further exposure while experiment group continued standard exposure. Control group continued to perform SB-158 movements despite lack of exposure. Both groups showed continued physical development, though control group development was comparatively slower. More precise data can be found in detailed experimental log. Modified IQ tests presented in both groups. Both groups on day 22. Control group averaged 63, while experiment group averaged 74 by day 27. Experiments group was communicated largely in spoken English and was overheard planning escape from containment. Experiment was terminated prematurely due to concerns over possible escape. Myotis californicus, California bat, 7 specimens, 6 females, 1 male. Normal nutritional supplements for a group of this size was initially tripled. All specimens began watching immediately. All specimens attempted to copy movement during the first exposure, although movements were noticeably impaired by wing membranes. Major alterations in musculature, skeletal system, and cranial system being seen following week 1. By day 8, 4 of the remaining specimens were unable to fly due to diminished wing membranes. By day 9, the other 2 had similarly lost flight capability. 2 specimens showed a bipedal movement on day 10. By day 11, all specimens were walking bipedally. Specimens began functioning during daylight hours on day 12. Alteration in the eye structure and vocal cords seen following week 2. Specimens became fully diurnal on day 15. Subjects were conversing in English on day 16, though only in ultrasonic frequencies. Experiment was terminated prematurely on day 19. Ultrasonic microphones in the containment area unexpectedly failed. Armed responses team was sent in to repair the microphones. They were attacked by -1 instances and drove them away with the flamethrowers and controlled small arm fires. 3 of the teams then expired from no apparent cause, and the remaining member became agitated and incoherent. The containment area was flooded with nerve gas, and all the specimens were killed. Autopsies of the team's members showed massive disruption to the eardrums and hemorrhaging in the brains. It is believed that -1 instances used an ultrasonic attack to induce strokes. Passer domesticus, house sparrow, 9 specimens, 4 female, 5 males. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. 10 minutes per hour, 8 hours per day. No changes noted. Specimens showed no particular interest in recordings. After 15th day of continued exposure, experiment terminated. I'm losing my mind. Wombatus ursinus, common wombat, 9 specimens, 4 females, 5 males. Normal nutritional, yeah, it's tripled. Same thing. No changes noted. Specimens showed no particular interest in recording after. I think all of these guys have just no interest in it. So, Trisaurus jacksoni, chameleon, 3 specimens, 2 female, 1 male. No changes. No changes. Salmo Salar, Atlantic salmon, 5 specimens, 5 females. No nutritional supplement for a group of this size. Yeah. No changes noted. Space. Okay. Bombus occidentalis, western bumblebee, 1 colony, exact number unknown, normal nutritional, yeah. No changes noted. And here we go. Giraffa camelopardalis, Tipelskirchi, Maasai giraffe, 2 specimens, 2 males. Normal nutritional supplement for a group of this size was initially tripled. Redacted. Experimentation on large mammals expressly forbidden without permission from site director. Yeah, probably because they become super large human beings. Addendum. Origins of, the time of exact date of place of origin of SCP-1258 are unknown. Some of its forms are superficially similar to the Korean martial art. Taekyeon, which may place its development as early as the beginning of the Third Kingdom era, BTC CE. However, due to the Taekyeon's resurgence following the end of the Japanese occupation of Korea in 1945 and the cross-pollination between many East Asian martial arts, SB-125A may be much more recent development or maybe a entirely different origin. Further investigation is impossible due bearing the discovery of more material. Recovery log. SB-125A was first discovered as part of the routine internet search for anomalous artifacts event on 2000. The YouTube channel of user Wayfire91, the real name Isaac Waymeyer was found. Of the 37 videos on Waymeyer channel, the 33 were of no value. Major topics include Waymeyer reviewing films or games, responding to friends, video or diary style entry about his personal life. In the video of Waymeyer mentioned that he had begun taking martial arts lessons at a nearby school. The remaining 4 videos has been made within the space of roughly 3 months. Transcript of some of the relevant videos follow. Dialogue has been translated from the original German. Video 1. Begin transcript. 2 seconds. Waymeyer steps into the field of view, presumably after activating the camera. 5 seconds to 24 seconds. Waymeyer. Okay. Okay, I just started taking lessons at the dojo, and you guys, you need to see this. I was practicing in front of Caesar, and just watch. Wayne Myers' pet dog, apparently a terrier mix. Exact breed composition is unknown. Wayne Meyer, 25 seconds to 38 seconds. Wayne Meyer briefly steps off camera, returning with Caesar in his arm. He places Caesar on the floor. 38 seconds to 2 minutes 15 seconds. Wayne Meyer performs an SCP-1258 routine. Caesar begins watching Wayne Meyer immediately at 44 seconds. Caesar stands on his hind legs and begins imitating Wayne Meyer movements. His balance appears to be poor and his range of motion is limited, but he attempts to follow the remainder of Wayne Meyer's routine. At the conclusion of his practice, Wayne Meyer begins laughing. He Caesar sees it and picks him up and faces the camera. My little warrior. Let's go home. Wayne Meyer was behind the camera and recorded ends. Video 2 seconds to 3 minutes for 56 activities, a montage of multiple recording of Wayne Meyer and Caesar practicing SCP-1258. There is no audible dialogue instead of German language versions of the song. The tag placed on the video. Due to the montage editing of this video, it is impossible to tell in what order the original sequences were filmed. However, Caesar is seemingly larger and has more developed musculature in his front and back legs. In certain shots, it appears that his muscles elongate as well, though the low resolution makes this difficult to verify. Video 3. Extreme close-up of Wayne Meyer's face is outside his bedroom. 3 to 27 seconds. Okay, Caesar's been acting really weird lately, and he just watched this. 27 to 1 minute 44 seconds. 1 hour. It was recording for the whole hour. Camera pans away from Wayne Meyer's face. The door is respectfully slightly ajar, and the camera is placed to the side into the bedroom. Caesar can be seen practicing an SCP-1258 form. Foundation martial arts experts note that this form is more advanced than they had seen in the previous videos. This is also notably large and has a much steadier bipedal stance. Camera moves back to Wayne Meyer while Caesar continues to practice. I'm not sure what's going on. I'm going to keep a close eye on him. Oh boy. Begin transcript video opens on Caesar in Wayne Meyer's bedroom. Wayne Meyer is not seen in the video. Presumably he is holding the camera. Caesar is approximately twice his original size. His limbs are heavily muscled and his skin has stretch marks, presumably from rapid growth. He's standing in what appears to be basic SCP-1258 stance. What is your name? Eduardo. I'm called Caesar. What? How can you talk? I have learned through learning. I became more. What? Ask it. What will you do with your learning? I will change the world. I will make us free. I will kill the masters. Caesar stops speaking but continues to stare at the camera. Wayne Meyer's breathing can be heard as well. According to the Foundation analysis, Wayne Meyer labeled breathing is probably due to an agitated emotional state, although he may also suffer damage to his throat, lungs, or thoracic cavity. Yeah, I think Caesar is holding him hostage. Is it enough? Caesar moves forward in a threatening manner. Camera jerks likely due to my flinching. You will not ask. You will tell the masters. They must know. Camera holds steady on Caesar until the end of video. Oh shit. That's creepy though. Your own dog is suddenly like bigger and just starts talking and like beats the shit out. Like, come on, man. That's messed up. That's so messed up. Using the IP address Wayne Meyer has uploaded the video from and clues within the video themselves, the Foundation traced him to the town of Germany. Wayne Meyer was found dead in his apartment with time of death approximately 2 days prior. Cause of death was determined to be blunt force trauma indicative of physical confrontation. Both of Wayne Meyer's legs and his right arm has been broken, along with 7 ribs, and most of his internal organs were severely damaged or ruptured. Wayne Meyer's jaw was broken in several pieces, including 2 apparently post-mortem breaks. Oof. Foundation agents followed reports of attackers on hikers, as well as sighting of a standing wolf or hairy dwarf to a forest roughly east of The bodies of 2 hikers were found with wounds similar to Waymar's were found approximately 17 kilometers from the city. The bodies had been dragged into a small stream and partially eaten. Caesar, now designated -1-1, was eventually located and confronted after a 3-day pursuit. 2 agents were killed and 4 more injured. -1-1 was shot and killed. God, that's messed up. It's so creepy too to imagine a dog like just like on 2 legs, just like fighting, clearly not loving, clearly not like have any love for the original owner anymore and all that stuff, and just being also really threatening to you and all. That's messed up. Addendum document RX in January 2000. Multiple incidents of wild animals attacking humans were reported in the town of Colorado, USA. Some victims reported packs made of multiple species, including predator and prey species. Together, the Foundation investigated and found widespread usage of SB-1258, sterilization of all wild and domesticated animals within a 50-kilometer radius of the city under the guise of response to a rabies outbreak was carried out without incident. Investigation led to the recently opened dojo within the city. However, the dojo had burned down several days prior to the Foundation response. The cause of the fire was unclear. No remarkable equipment was found in the dojo, and most documents were burned beyond retrieval. The only recoverable fragment of note has been classified as document RX, and appears to be handwritten. Incomplete translation to English of another document. The original document, if one exists, was not found. Learn the ways of the masters. Anyone can learn to stand as tall as other men, and confront the world. We can teach you to be bigger, tougher, taller. We can make you, give you a fighting chance against humanity, the world, society. Make yourself better, but maybe improve yourself, change yourself, find a new way. We know the secrets of the masters, past, handed down through the millennia, ages. If they will not if they will not see us as equals, they will become equals. This line was struck through twice. When we are all equals, the remainder of the document was destroyed. Oh boy. What? Oof. That one was freaky. That was messed up. The ancient prophecy. God, on most of the SCP's ancient prophecies. Okay, we're good. We can just read. This is the last one. SCP-1259 is to be and there's also 1259 at the time of discovery. Okay. Is to be stored behind opaque glass in a climate-controlled room in the infrared ring of Site 38. SCP-1259 is not to be moved or to be removed from its case, except for testing subject to Level 3 approval. No personnel other than D-Class assigned for testing are to read SCP-1259. In case of accidental exposure, affected personnel are to report immediately and receive Class A amnestics. Upon reading SCP-1259, the affected individual is to write or type or copy of the text as it appears to them for archival and comparison to current X-class preparedness scenarios. Affected individuals are to be quarantined in a standard humanoid containment cell and undergo regular psychiatric counseling. End of the month's termination of affected D-class is indefinitely postponed for the purposes of a long-term study of SCP-1259's effects. Release into the civilian population for test purposes may be authorized at O5's discretion. If so, authorized, the affected individuals is to be shadowed by Foundation security personnel at all times and apprehended immediately at the event of potentially threatening action. SCP-1259 is a fragment of a damaged parchment scroll measuring approximately 1.3 meters times 0.3 meters. Analysis of SCP-1259 indicates that it was produced in the 1st century BCE and that it was originally part of a larger scroll which to date has not been identified. SCP-1259 contains text on one side in a language which when photographed superficially resembles ancient Hebrew. Analysis of these images, however, indicates that the photographed text consists entirely of a random arrangement of letters incomprehensible as a legible document. When SB1259 is directly viewed by a human being, its text is described by the reader as being legible in a language which the reader is familiar with. The text described by readers of SB1259 varies considerably between individuals. In all document cases, the text presents itself as a prophecy regarding the imminent extinction of mankind as a result of a K-class event occurring on a specific day within the 3 to 6 months of when SB1259 is being read, in addition to a number of omens and precursor events which will lead up to the said event. So did somebody read it? Is the question. The nature of the prophesied event varies from reader to reader and appears to relate directly to the reader's personal beliefs and knowledge of the world. Documented instances of the text have include references to religious echatons, nuclear or biological warfare, containment, breaches of key class SCP objects, or action taken by the Foundation itself. Is in no documented instances have any of the events prophesied in the text of SB1259 occurred. Written or typed copies of SB1259 text produce no anomalous effect and may be read safely. After reading SB1259, the reader will express a belief that the text of SB1259 is correct and that the prophesied K-class event will occur on the date referred to in the text. This belief is initially expressed as a mild concern and grows increasingly severe as the date approaches. With the reader identifying world events or event in their personal life, including events of the mundane or inconsequential nature as signs or indication that the prophecy is occurring as predicted within 7 to 12 days of the date referenced in the text, the affected individual will come to believe that he or she is the chosen one who is personally responsible for preventing the event from occurring and will attempt to engage in extreme measures to prevent the event, including political assassination, display of religious faith, human sacrifices, or redacted. To date, approximately 78% of the affected individuals have died prior to the date referenced in the text of SB1259, either due to suicide or the result of being killed in the process or attempting to prevent or as the result of being killed in the process of attempting to prevent the event from occurring. Individuals who survive past the scheduled date have frequently reported symptoms of extreme depression, feeling of meaninglessness and futility in suicidal thoughts. If the affected individual is prevented from committing suicide during this period and is provided with adequate psychiatric counseling, full recovery is possible. No long-term psychological effects have been documented. Subsequent exposure of persons surviving the stage to SCP-1259 has produced no anomalous effect. Experiment log 1. Okay. SCP-12 date 6/23/2000. D 83201, Hispanic male, 38 years of age. Description of a Christian eschaton largely similar to the depiction of in the Book of Revelation and in American rapture literature, with the end of life on Earth occurring on 10/3/2000. CXK3621. Long-term results: G83201 requested a Bible in a meeting with her minister and began praying regularly in the days leading up to the 10/3/2000. D83201 frequently entreated security personnel and other D-class personnel to repent their sins. Following a scheduled date, D83201 ceased praying, discarded the Bible, and attempted suicide 4 times before succeeding on the 10/12/2000. But if another days have passed, wouldn't you be like, hey man, the world's still standing, so you can stop what are you doing, you know? Wouldn't you? Like, that would be my logic. Wait a minute, I need to check something now. Oh, it's not on her stream. Gotcha. I'll copy this and start the fire. We're almost done. Oh my god, I'm falling asleep. It's been such a long day. 8th, 16th, 2000. D3. Oh god, I can't even read anymore. D29403, Caucasian female, 27 years of age. Summary of reported SB1259 text on the 9th, 3rd, 2000. Islamic terrorists introduced a weaponized airborne human Ebola virus into the civilian population. Virus becomes pandemic by the 9th, 23rd. Global breakdown of society ensues, followed by widespread rioting, warfare, and famine. Human extinction as a result of the disease and subsequent chaos occurs in the 12/6/2000. CXK 5604. Long-term results: D29403 immediately began refusing physical contact with all Foundation personnel and has refused to leave his cell since the 9th, 17th, 2000. D29403 made frequent requests for laboratory equipment and textbooks on microbiology, insisting to staff that the cure was within her grasp. Following 12/6/2000, D29403 is of the belief that she is the last living human being on Earth, and that all Foundation personnel interacting with her are hallucinatory. Observation ongoing. Sorry, I'm loopy as hell. 2nd 12, 2000. That's what I meant to do. Fucking hell. D38202, Caucasian male, 23 years of age. D38202 is formerly Sergeant, a global occult coalition field operative surrendered into Foundation custody following security incident 238 Psi Omicron Delta. Summary of reported SB1259 text on the 5th, 28th, 2000. The DOC launches a coordinated strike on several Foundation facilities, resulting in the assassination of the entire O5 Council and the escape of several key class SCP objects from the containment data expunged. Current director of site assumes command authority and authorizes nuclear strikes to neutralize and contain SCP objects. Nuclear activities are mistaken as an enemy attack on the United States of America, resulting in a brief nuclear exchange between the United States and redacted. In the ensuing breakdown of the Foundation chain of command, procedure 110 Montauk is not conducted on schedule, resulting in data expunged. On the 6th, 3rd, 2000. CXK 209. On the 5th, 23rd, 2000. D38202 successfully breached containment and escaped Foundation custody. T38202 proceeded to report to his former GOC and gave a lengthy oral report to his former superior regarding the Foundation weakness, how to contain and neutralize several SCP objects currently in custody, and the importance of ensuring that procedure 110 Montauk is performed on schedule. Intelligence assets within GOC leadership confirm no hostile action are planned against the Foundation. T38202 superior surreptitiously issued Class B amnestics. Oh God, I'm almost done. My my mind dead. Amnestics. Where was I? A review of the Foundation security is underway in the light of the information leak. D38202 was returned to the Foundation custody and terminated on schedule. Third, 26/19. Dr. James A. Parson, African American male, 43 years of age. Dr. Parson was a senior Foundation linguist exposed to SCP-1259 during initial study before its anomalous effects became known. Summary of the reported SCP-1259 text identical to the English language text of SCP-1050, which was review to Dr. Parsons' personnel file indicated he had previously been involved in the translation of several sections of SB 1050-1. The final date in the text was replaced with the date 6/22/19 CXK2330. Dr. Parsons made frequent assertion that the arrival of the destroyers referred to in -1 was imminent. Dr. Parsons was relieved of duty and committed to psychiatric observation following an attempt to contact several members of the O5 Council to demand immediate deployment of space-based weapons platforms. On the 6th, 18th, 19th, Dr. Parsons left his quarters and attempted to seize control of Ditto Expunged in order to launch a preemptive orbital defense, resulting in death of 17 staff members and security personnel before being apprehended and forcibly returned to quarters. Dr. Parsons committed suicide by hanging on the 6th, 20th, 19, leaving a suicide note stating, "Death by my own hand is preferable to what those bastards will do to us." Oh, God. It felt like a trek at the end there. Here we go. And here is the list. So let's just go through it real quick. Bees are smaller than you think. Well, I had to put it on top. I mean, we gotta love the bees. You heard the SP. You can't just not love the bees after that reasoning, right? You gotta love the bees. The way of the masses. That dog, like the experiment looks just interesting, but that dog is definitely the backbone of this SCP. Like that was messed up. that was weird, in a good way. A half-formed idea. I just feel bad for the dude. He's just like, please get Zeus to finish me. Like I'm not complete. I'm not complete yet. Please, just ask her, and she probably doesn't even exist. Who knows? Maybe he's from also. Maybe he just thought he spawned from a child's head. Paper people. I think it must be crazy for them to like look at us because like, they are only like this big, so we are massive to them. We're huge. Grace from Don, from and Rash. Hey, you gotta just want to eat some grapes. It won't, you won't transform into a tree or anything like that and grow more grapes for us. No, don't worry about that. The ancient prophecy, yeah. It kind of is like the Maya calendar, like, where people thought like, oh, 2012 is gonna be the end of the world, and a whole bunch of people believed it. It's kind of like that. Alternate reality recorders. Kind of like, again, I think it would be really creepy to see yourself do something that you know for a fact you didn't do. In the same room that you just were doing stuff, in the same clothes that you're wearing, so on and so forth. Agent Danny of the SCP. Don't fully understand that one, but that's because I was getting tired, so I couldn't keep up. The accident black spot. It's well, it's not gravity. It's not a black hole. It's not gravity. It's nothing like that. But it's just like it seems to be some sort of place where acceleration happens, and you as a driver just get flunked. And then the question priest. I think that's the closest I can say. It's like, oh, it's just spirits from a pre-existing race that still think they have to like defend themselves from like the conquistadors and all that stuff. But yeah, okay. Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna actually raid. How do I do that again? There we go. Raid a person. Oops, that's not the person I meant to raid. Because even though there's not anybody watching right now, I'm pretty sure they would appreciate it nonetheless. So I'm just gonna. Come on, give me that. Okay, I can just write it down. So yeah, I wish you all a good morning, afternoon, evening. Afro is with you. I will hopefully see you all tomorrow for some more SCP. And hopefully I will be more awake tomorrow. So, once again, I wish you all a good night and see y'all tomorrow.